Old, new, and different. These are three words I want to share about virtual speeches as we prepare for contest season. Because this year, as last year, our contest speeches and evaluations will happen online. And there are some things that are old, some things that are new, and some things that are just very different. So what's old? Because I'll start with the simple. The old and what we already know, and what hasn't changed when we went from physical to virtual, is that we need to think, how Philippe Min said, about the audience, which means we need to tell a universal story. Usually, typically, what really works is a personal story. So, going on a fasting retreat, on a meditation retreat, things that we hear and really remember. Typically, when Andres spoke about how he learned to play chess and he taught it to her daughter, it was more memorable than when he said, "Oh, I read a book about why sleep is important." Nobody remembered that one. And it was even in a fun moment. So, universal theme and universal examples is very important. Personal story, so talking about yourself, and also a call to action. That's the third bullet of old. Call to action means that it's good to tie in what you say to something that applies to everyone. So, for example, last year, the district winner, Carl, what is his name? Karsten Wendt, yes, a fantastic man. So he told his own personal story about how he was delaying his visit to the medical checkup because he really didn't want to have a prostate checkup. And his call to action, after all his sort of deliberations about the consequences of delaying this medical checkup, was to say, guys over 50, it's very important. You need to go to see your doctor. And it really, the message rang after we heard his story. So, universal theme, personal story, and call to action are something that we know well. Now, what's new? What's new is that you need a lot of imagination when you're online because camera is your audience, screen is now your stage, and technology can either augment or diminish your performance, and in a very significant way. Now, what do I mean? Camera is your audience is not so relevant when we're here in the club and we can actually see everybody's face and we're friendly and we react and we laugh and so on. But you need to really be able to speak to the camera when you're a contest because my eyes are kind of looking at you right now and my eyes looking at the camera are very different. The eye contact changes immensely just within the difference of 5 centimeters. So when you talk to the contest audience, you need to be talking to the camera every single second. Otherwise you lose the contact and they tune out, right? You want to keep them tuned in. Now, screen is your stage. This one is actually very interesting because all that we can see is what's here, right? What's within the screen, which means that you can bring in props that nobody sees at the right moment. And Hannah has shown us many ways to use props in previous meetings, Tanya as well. You can use backgrounds. Last year in the contest, we saw many people. For example, one was talking about space. He has stars behind him. You can even use videos that like with clouds moving behind you. You can invent and reinvent something that we would call visuals or slides that didn't even exist in physical contests to actually use them. So there's a lot of imagination, but a lot of potential for imagination. And then technology can augment and diminish your performance. What do I mean by that? Is that if you think backgrounds, if you think visuals, if you think keywords or whatever, even Zoom filters, because we're going to be on Zoom, there's a lot of potential, but there's a lot of risk that you're taking because you need to really make it work. Means technical preparation, means really integrating it like in a theater stage, your props so that they are not just, without any purpose on your screen or that you fiddle around, and it takes you time and you have a technical problem. It has to be super smooth and make sense. So it has to be meaningful. And with that, let's move to what's different from what's new. Because it's a bit different. What's different is that it requires participating in a virtual contest for speaking or evaluation. It requires rigorous, long preparation because you can't see anyone. This is different from club. You cannot see anyone in the audience when you're participating in division and district conferences. You're responsible for everything, meaning your lights, your audio, your setup, your staging, your Wi-Fi connection, everything. And you get zero feedback. Not from the audience, not during your speech, not even after your speech, because nobody's clapping and nobody's there to tell you how you did. Very, very difficult. And so I want to share with you a few things of how it's different and what it really means. Because we don't think about it, but what's different is how people watch, right? Some of them watch on a phone, some of them on a computer, and some of them maybe are on the train, and they just tune in for a little bit. Now, some of them might be sitting on a couch, just chilling, having their apéro with their kids, and you need to keep their attention. Some of them might be viewing you on speaker view, so they actually see your face very well, and even if you stand a little bit further, it's okay. But some of them might be just viewing you on gallery view, and they just see a little face and then many, many other busy people or busy things on the screen that are distracting, right? You need to keep that in mind. So now what to do? Because it's so new and different. You need to imagine that person who's sitting on the couch during apéro with his kid. This is the person you're speaking to when you talk to the camera. You need to spend as much time on preparing your stage setup as in preparing your actual speech. Very important. And you need to have your own timer. And I can share with you what I had as my setup last year. Last year, the end result was this. Now, what is in front of me was this. The computer was at eye level, so, in front of a window to have enough light, and I had an iPad with my own timer because I didn't want to miss the timer that was floating somewhere among the, I don't know how many hundreds of participants. Now you can go and get a little lamp and a setup, and you can do things nowadays in a quiet, reasonably professional way, or you can go all the way now and set up your lighting and computer. This is where I am right now, and have a studio. This is too costly, too much, but you need to think and compare what you see on your screen to what you think looks professional, because people judge, judges judge before they hear you speak. In other ways, you need to do the old, meaning have a personal, universal story, tell it well with gestures, eye contact, and so on. You need to vividly imagine, this is new, who's sitting behind the camera. And you need to prepare rigorously so that everything is flawless and you finish on time and nobody has noticed whatever is outside of your screen.